Well, hello everyone. So in this particular session, we will look at what work is, right? So work is this physical quantity which is a scalar, right? So I started to use terms right away. What is a scalar? Scalar is a quantity which has only magnitude and no direction, right? You would have already studied this in your 9th and 10th. A quantity which is just having a magnitude and no direction is called as a scalar. That means if I do some x amount of work, whether I do it in this direction or in this direction or in this direction or in this direction doesn't make any sense, because for scalars there is no direction which is defined, right? So it doesn't make any sense to say that I have done this much of work in this direction and this much of work in this direction. It doesn't make any sense because there is no direction which is defined for work, for it being a scalar, right? So work is a scalar. Okay, we know work is a physical quantity which is a scalar. What is work, right? So you might think of work as something which costs some expense of energy or stuff like that, but that's not completely true as far as work in physics is concerned, right? So for instance, if you have this giant wall and you're present here trying to push this wall, right? So you're trying to push this wall. This is also your hand, by the way, right? You're trying to push this wall. The wall is stationary. It's not at all moving. So if this happens, then okay, even if you start feeling a little tired, you've lost a lot of energy, but that doesn't mean you have done any work, right? Physics says that you have done no work. No work done even if you feel tired, right? Well, that's pretty strange. But let's say why this is true. Let's for that we'll have to understand what work in terms of physics is, right? So I'm kind of giving you a revision of what you would have already studied in your 9th and 10th. Maybe this example as well you would have already seen. But the formula for work when it comes to physics right now is work is nothing but the dot product of force and displacement caused, right, of the body. So what happens is you apply force at a point, and displacement, this s bar is a vector, nothing but displacement of that point. This is what your work is. So I believe most of you would have already studied vectors by now, and you would know that if you have two vectors with you, how do you find the dot product between them? So that's very, very simple. You have a vector a bar, which is nothing but a1i plus b1j plus c1k, and you have another vector b bar is equals to b1i plus b2j plus b3k. I should have written here a1, a2 and a3, but it doesn't matter, these are just variables anyways. So you need to take the dot product of these two, a bar dot b bar. What do you get? You get an a1 b1 plus a2 b2 plus a3 b3, right? And this quantity that you see here is nothing but a scalar, because it is a sum of three numbers. These are three numbers, they can be positive, negative, whatever. They sum up to some scalar. There's no direction which is defined anymore for this vector, for this quantity called a dot b, which is not a vector, it's a scalar now, right? These were vectors, but the dot product is a scalar. That's why it's also called as the scalar product or the dot product, right? So let's see now, according to that definition, let's see why there's no work happening here, because this is your point. This is your point. So when you're trying to push, you're applying some force at that point. This point is there. You're applying some force at this point, but this point is not moving at all because the wall is stationary. If the wall doesn't move, how will this point move, right? So the point is not at all moving, which is why your s bar is 0, because s bar is the displacement of that point to which you're applying this particular force. So if that is 0, then this work, that's why your work here is 0. So this is why the work is 0, right? Let's see, for instance, if you have this particular box over here, and you're trying to pull it like this with some F, this is your horizontal, right? And your box gets displaced in this direction. This was your theta, and this is your x. Now how do you find the work done, right? That's the question. So it's not difficult again to solve such cases, because work is nothing but F bar dot S bar. What is F bar here? The force vector. So let's say this is my y-axis, this is my x-axis. If I project this, if I want the force vector, you have a force vector here you have x-axis, you have y-axis, this theta, right? So this f bar can be written as nothing but fx bar I cap plus fy bar j cap, right? X component of the force into I cap plus y component of the force into j cap. So fx is nothing but f cos theta I cap plus fy is nothing but f sin theta j cap, right? So I'll use that here. There's nothing but f cos theta I plus f sin theta j, and I'll take the dot product of this and the displacement vector, right? So where are you applying the force at this point? This is your point, right? Now if the box gets displaced by x, this point also gets displaced by x, right? But it gets displaced by x in the x direction. So this is nothing but xi. This is your displacement vector xi. I'll use that here. This is nothing but xi. Now I'll take the dot product of these two vectors according to that formula. So how will it be like? It will be like this, fx cos theta, right? In fact, by the way, here I dot j will become 0, so that's why f sin theta will just vanish from the formula. So what I can do here is, I can club f cos theta and multiply that with x. So there's another way in which I can define, well, that this definition is always valid no matter what the case, even the most complex case, this will be valid. But what I can also do is, I can say that f cos theta is the force in this direction and displacement x is in that direction, right? So work can also be defined as the product of force in the direction of displacement into displacement, right? So displacement multiplied by force in the direction of displacement, right? The perpendicular direction of the force, the perpendicular direction of the displacement you will neglect. Any force component in the perpendicular direction of displacement you will neglect, and you will only take the force which is in the direction of displacement. You will multiply that with x, right? So that's how you will get the formula for work. So well, these are very, very simple cases because you had a constant force. This force was not changing with time or with displacement. So that's why it was very, very easy. But sometimes what you can have is you can have a changing force. What happens when your force starts changing with time or changing with displacement, right? So let's say my force is something complicated now. My force vector is not f cos theta, right? If it's not f cos theta into I, it's some function of x, right? Some 5x cube I cap. Now this means that when I put x equal to 0, my force is 0. But when I put x equal to 1, my force is 5 newtons in the direction of I cap. When I put x equal to 2, my force is, this is 8 into 5, 40 I cap. So now your force, the force that you're applying on this point is increasing with time. Now when that happens, you can't directly multiply like this, right? You need to use integration. Integration is the only way you can deal with this case. So what you will do is, whenever this happens, so this simply means that your force is in the x direction, right? So you have a box here, let's say. You started, applying the force in the x direction because this is your fx, right? It's nothing but f, but you can clearly see that this f is nothing but fx because its fi is 0 anyways. It's having a component only in the x direction, right? This is your f, which is defined by this particular formula, right? Sometimes what can also happen is in the question they might give you f as a function of time, displacement also as some function of time, and then you need to eliminate time between these two, right? You can eliminate time variable between these two and get f in terms of x and use that here, right? I hope you've understood what I said. So what I will do is I will displace this by a very, very small displacement, right? I will displace the ball by a very, very small dx, such that this dx is almost equal to 0. So in this process, because your displacement and force are in the same direction, right? I can straight away multiply them because work done is nothing but force in the direction of displacement into displacement, right? According to that case. But this will be a very, very small work, approximately equal to 0. But now this dx is so small that in this dx interval I can treat f as a constant, right? Because let's say if you moved from 1.000, so when you were at 1.000 this was the case, but when you went to 1.000 0, 1 or something, let's say, then this and this would have been very, very same, right? Like very, very similar. These are very, very too close values. So I can say that approximately your force is the same between this point and this point, right? Because the change itself is very, very small. So then I can treat this force as a constant. So let's say at some x equal to x, the force was nothing but 5x cubed. And from x equal to x, you took it to some dx, right? So that's why this was like this. So this is into dx. Now this was the work done for this much area, this part. Now you will to get the total work. Let's say from x equal to xi, you started from x equal to xi, and you went all the way up to x equal to xf. From here to here, what will the work be? So you'll start from xi and go to xf. That's how your limits will be. You'll just integrate it. Your work done will be nothing but 5 into x power 4 divided by 4, starting from xi going to xf. So whenever you have variable force, whenever your force is changing, your changing force, then you need to use integration. You can't straight away use multiplication. That's why integration is defined, right? So this formula is also valid. In fact, work done is nothing but integral f dx. This formula is even more accurate for every other case, for even more complex cases. Now this formula also tells you that if you have a f versus x graph, where your f is on the x-axis, x is on the y-axis, then area under fx graph gives you work, right? Because integration means nothing but area, differentiation means slope. So f dx integration means area under the fx graph. So if your fx curve looks like this, wherein your it's starting from xi going to xf, right? So at x equal to xi, you have fxi as your force. At x equal to fx, you have fxf as your force. And as you keep going on this particular curve, every point will have its corresponding force, right? So area under this curve should give you the total work, which this body, which was done on the body, taking it from x equal to xi to x equal to xf, right? So this was all about work as far as like whatever we had to discuss. Few random cases, like for instance, if you apply a force in this direction, but if your body moves in that direction, let's say, sometimes it can happen. You're applying a force in this direction, but the movement is happening in that direction, maybe due to some other force, right? Let's say there is some other force, we don't know what that force is, that is causing a y displacement, but you're on the same time, at the same instant, you're also applying a horizontal force. Now what will be the work done due to this force? If I ask you the work done due to this force, then you will see where it's being applied. You will take that point is going in the upward direction, so displacement is nothing but yj cap. Your s bar is nothing but yj cap, and your f bar is nothing but some f I cap, right? Because it's f in the horizontal direction. Now work done will be nothing but dot product of these two. There's no integration required here because it's a constant force. So f bar dot s bar. So if you do this, then that will be f y into I dot j, but I dot j is a 0, right? Because in dot product perpendicular vectors of dot product of perpendicular vectors is 0, so work done involved here is 0, right? So whenever you have whenever you apply force in a direction and a displacement in that displacement in that case is in the perpendicular direction of the force, that force does no work on the body, right? So there are two cases when your work can be 0. One, in fact, there are three cases. The first is your force itself is 0. The second is this case where your displacement is 0 even if your force is not 0, right? And the third is even if force and displacement are both non-zeros, but they are mutually perpendicular to each other. In all the three cases, you can have 0 work, right? So this is all that we had to discuss as far as work was concerned. I hope you found this session informative. Thanks for watching.